Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I am very excited. I got a new lyre. I found this one on eBay. It was on a really good sale because it is used and missing one of its strings. So this is by a company called the Mideast Manufacturing Company, which you have probably seen if you look at instruments on the internet as much as I do. They make a lot of really interesting like historical reproductions and some kind of rare harps. Like I think they make a cross-strung harp. They've got a lot of interesting stuff. So I wanted to check this one out. This is called the Kinnor lyre, and it's supposed to be a reproduction of a lyre that's described in the Bible. I don't know all that much about it, so I can't tell you how accurate it is, but I will tell you how awesome it is. So let's open it up. Okay, here we go. I'm really excited to see this. I've been a part of a newish Facebook group. It's called Learning the Lyre Harp, and there's a ton of resources on there, and it's just gotten me really inspired about lyres. So I'm excited to open this up because I'm all full of enthusiasm about it right now. So. Just some paper in there. That's not the best packing job in the world, but that's okay. Okay, that's my invoice, and here is, well, it comes in a nice little case. I like that. Toss that box. Okay, well, first let's see if there's anything in the pocket. No. Oh, but I can feel the padding on this case is nice. So honestly, I paid a very low price for this, so even if the lyre is terrible, this case is potentially worth what I paid. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so for some reason I pictured it as being larger than this, although I think it has 10 strings. 6, yeah, 10. I suppose for a little 10-string lyre, I shouldn't have expected that it would be really huge. But this is awesome. It's very out of tune. I'll have to tune it up. So this is really cute. Okay, and also in this bag, there's a few extra strings and the tuning key in here. So that's super exciting because I was thinking I'd have to dig into my string stash to find the missing string, but there's a clear one in here. So that's going to be super easy. So I'm going to put the string on here and tune her up and play around with it a little bit, and then we'll see what she sounds like. The neat thing about a lyre with slightly less strings than some of the lyres that you see today is you can use this sort of different technique. This is called the block and strum technique. And it's basically the same idea as an auto harp. What you want to do is use your hand you're not playing with to touch strings that you don't want to sound. So if I'm, for instance, going to play a C chord with C, E, and G, I'm going to try to touch all of the notes that are not C, E, or G, which is kind of an adventure when you have 10 strings, but I think it's doable. Okay, I think we've got this. So now I'm going to just try and... And it's a pretty C chord, and you can just sit there and strum it. And once you get used to this style, you're able to block off the notes that you want to block off pretty easily without, it's like chord changes on a guitar. And it's going to take a while to get proficient with it, but once you do, it's going to be a lot easier than you think it is. So this mini Kinnor lyre, it's 10 strings, and really interestingly, it goes from a low E up to a high G. So it kind of plays really nicely into the key of A minor, which is analogous with C major, but without that top A, like it gets a little weird. It's a fun one to kind of improvise on, but if you're trying to play songs with it, you're going to be pretty limited by this range. 10 notes is not a lot of notes to start with, and with that particular range from E to G, it's going to be a little tricky to find songs that fit within that 10-string range. So like I said, this is going to be a fantastic instrument to improvise with. It's based off of a biblical lyre. So if you are of that persuasion and you wanted to do some like light accompaniment for psalms or just for like prayer or meditation, I think it's kind of a neat instrument to use in that very like meditative sort of way, and especially if the shape of it and the design of it gives you some sort of spiritual connection, then I think that can be really helpful for some people. And if that's something that resonates with you, then I really do recommend this. This lyre does have nylon strings, which is pretty different from a lot of lyres that you'll find on the market now. A lot of them come from China and are made with metal strings, and it has a very different tone. I don't necessarily think that one or the other is better or worse quality. These are made in Pakistan. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to vary based on what kind of tone you're looking for. The nylon string is much more, it doesn't have as much sustain. It's just a little bit less resonant, but it also is softer and lighter and warmer almost. It doesn't have the twang that often metal strings will have. So if that's something that interests you, this might be a good lyre. As far as quality, this is obviously a mass-produced instrument. It's not going to measure up to handmade instruments that are made by artisans who are working one at a time on instruments. This is definitely a mass-produced item. With that said, I don't believe that this is like an instrument-shaped object. You may have heard of harp-shaped objects or things like that from some mass-produced makers, but I really believe that this is a legitimate instrument. It sounds nice. It's not terribly hard to play. I mean, it's not, there are no limitations in the design of the instrument that make it more difficult than it needs to be to play, which is sometimes a problem from mass-produced instruments. People are designing them who don't really understand instruments, and they can just be way too challenging, way more challenging than they need to be. But this does not have that flaw. I think it's pretty well designed. It sounds decent. It's obviously mass-produced, but then again, you get the mass-produced price point, which is not nearly as expensive as a handmade instrument, which, if you're looking at a lyre like this, can cost in the thousands. So if you're just dipping in your toes, I think this is a really great starter instrument. One interesting thing that I did note, I had to change one of the strings because one of the strings was missing when I bought it. I got this used. But one of the things that I did notice was these pegs up on top. If you're familiar with instruments, they're not zither pens, which basically means there's no threads on them. They're not screwing into the wood. These are purely friction pegs, which means they're being basically held in by the tension of the strings pulling down on them. There's nothing really anchoring them there. So if you're having problems with slipping, like pegs slipping, strings are detuning, something that you can do is while you tune, push down really hard while you're tuning, and those will sort of help them get slotted a little better into the wood. And if you are new to instruments, be aware that because of that, there might be some tuning issues that you might have to resolve. Not to say that that is a design flaw or that it's not easy to resolve, because it is. You can just get, there's a special glue called Pin Tight. I can link that down in the description. that you can use to put around it, and that'll help stop the pins from slipping, but do be aware that that's a possible issue. And that is all I have for you on this mini Kinnor lyre. I actually really enjoy it as an instrument. It's definitely a different shape, it's a different style, it's kind of unique, and I enjoy that about it. I like unique things. So to me, it sounds really pretty. I like the nylon strings because as a harpist, it makes it much easier for me to orient myself with the blue and the red strings on F and C respectively. As with wire strung harps, you just don't get that color coding, and it is a lot harder for me because I'm used to the color coding. So if you want to pick up one of these for yourself, I will put a link down in the description so you can grab one. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I will get back to you because I love talking to you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you all so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click on that subscription button right up there. Otherwise, if you would like to join my Patreon or buy me a coffee, the links to those are down in the description. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.